Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Blitz Growth. Today I have an amazing guest here. Super excited to go deep with Mara. Mara is an expert at growth. She's the co-author of the top growth hacking course on Udemy. She's helped brands like Tesla, Apple, Deloitte, and Adidas with this brand. Unbelievable amount of students have been through this, and it's such a good course. We actually met through growthhackers.com, which she also helped build and scale an amazing community there. So we're going to dive into some tactics that was used at Growth Hackers. But today, I can't wait to dive into some growth hacking tactics and teach all you listeners how to growth hack your own brand. So Mara, thank you so much for joining.
Having a blast here, Jack. I've been inviting you for 4 or 5 times already to join my courses and everything. So it was about time, mate. It was really about time for you to invite me.
I know, I had to return the favor at some point.
Absolutely. This is why we're doing this.
But Maya, you've got a super impressive past. You're everywhere on LinkedIn. You're always delivering so much value. I do want to go back a little bit because listeners might not know what growth hacking is, or the importance of that when it comes to the creative side of marketing. That's how I think of growth hacking. I think there's traditional marketing, then there's growth hacking, which is like the creative side of it. But how do you kind of pitch growth hacking to brands? And then how do you get into growth hacking? Like, it's not your traditional sort of skill set. So yeah, how did you get into it? And then how do you explain it to brands or clients that you're working with?
All right. So I just had the most amazing conversation today with Chris Out, another expert from Europe. He's from the Netherlands. And he said very nicely that 95% of people don't know what growth hacking is, right? And even though we are doing it for 10 years or something like that, the majority of folks still have no awareness what the discipline is. So here is my simplest pitch ever. How do I approach people with that? So it's all about the scientific methods, right? As Francis Bacon said in freaking 19th century or God knows what, it's all about having an assumption, testing it out, seeing what we have learned from it. So it's much more logical than making decisions for a year or so in advance and just betting all your money into one major thing that might pop up or not. So in a way, it's much more risk averse, even though it sounds a little bit contradictory, but it's much better to just separate these to a bunch of chunks where you can test a couple of different things and get better within every cycle than you are doing this experimentation. So I don't even call it growth hacking, as I'm working with really large brands. I call it experimentation. And I don't freaking care if we call it conversion rate optimization, if we are calling it conversion in rates, ads creatives, whatever. For me, it's all about the scientific method. So it's all about diversifying this risk of ours than if we would be living in some fantasy land and just waiting for our budget to be magically dispersed within a year or so. I don't like this. I mean, it's so fucked up to think about life in this way. So that's why I always start small, doubling down on whatever is working well, and eventually we get better. And if you see life in general, it's the same thing. For example, if I had a goal that I would want to wake up at 6 freaking p.m. in the evening or something like that randomly, I would probably test a couple of different ways how I could do that. So in that way, it's very natural. And apologies for this huge rant of mine, but yeah, I just see this huge discrepancy between, whoa, what that buzzword is, and between, hey, it's very logical, everybody should be doing it.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to break it down like that, actually, because it is a bit of a buzzword, growth hacking, but I don't think many people actually know what it is. But breaking it down as in running a bunch of experiments is a good way to put it. When it comes to, I suppose, understanding what growth hacking is, what sort of experiments do you usually suggest for brands? Let's break it into 3 types of brands too. So experiments that you would do for e-commerce, experiments that you would do for SaaS, and experiments you would do for content creators or digital products.
Love it.
So this is going to be a practical question. Yeah, this is going to be a practical question, but just 1 or 2 tests that you would suggest for each one of those 3 businesses.
Totally, totally. So I'm all about like delivering quick wins, right? Because when it comes to management and just like the C-level, they don't have the patience to necessarily have a quota or something like that for you to eventually deliver. You need to prove your words relatively quickly. So for the e-commerce, I would definitely go with UGC and influencer marketing, like testing this in ads, different creatives. And it would probably turn out much better than if I just put my product on a blank canvas and see whatever happens. The second thing that I love in e-commerce right now is SMS marketing. I mean, it sounds retarded, but tell you what, like open rates of emails are like 30% at best, right? Do you know what is an open rate when it comes to SMS? It's freaking
There you go.
93%. And click-through rates are like 30 to like 60% even sometimes, right? So when it comes to cart abandonment and you have the opportunity to just like generate a couple of those phone numbers, I would definitely test this out. I'm so looking forward to test this out with some of my clients in Q4. So that will be for e-commerce. And the very last thing that I always suggest in e-commerce is put your products higher on the page, because the majority of people will never see them if they are stuck out in the bottom of the page. So I'm very heavy on conversion rate optimization, because lately, I mean, you know all about this, Jack, the ad space got so freaking expensive and we don't know the shit what we are tracking there. So it's so more profitable to just like invest in conversion rate optimization than doing something else. Right. I'll go back to your question and leveraging this for software as a service businesses. So the first thing that I would do is just like increase signups for free trials or whatever your product-led growth model is right there. I would test a bunch of stuff when it comes to different offers, different call to action, and I would actually work religiously on onboarding process, because onboarding process and all this like stuff when it comes to onboarding new users is like make it or break it moment, right? This is where things can go radically wrong. Yeah. And when it comes to SaaS, I would also be very prone on investing to some like LinkedIn ads or something like that. And I know it sounds horrible because like cost per clicks are like €5, $5 in your world, or even more expensive. But when it comes to like quality of the users that you are generated at, I would really love to people to try this channel and not just like gossiping around how expensive is it, because it can be quite a powerful channel if you nail the offer and you know whom to target. And then like with content creators, love this question because I'm just like in the cycle of it. I just did like 2 awesome like influencer deals today. So one girl has like 30K followers, the second one has 50K followers, and they are raving about my new LinkedIn course on Instagram, which might sound odd, but I tell you, brother, it's converting like crazy, because this is where attention is, right? So those lads have a bunch of followers, which are like female entrepreneurs, and it's selling like cray. So affiliate programs, influencer programs, whatever you can do in terms of making somebody else wealthy is very beneficial. And I'm actually generating video testimonials as we are speaking, right? So before we started to record this podcast, I just like sent a bunch of emails to people who have already tried the course that I will give them like a free pass for a friend or 50 off for a friend if they just like spend 2 minutes and record a video. Why did they enjoy the course? So this user-generated content is forwarded right back into where we started with the e-commerce. Love this. It's converting so well. I mean, the platforms and the traditional media lost all the trust, whereas people-to-people business is thriving at the moment. Hope that was it.
No, it was really good and in-depth. I think the content creator one is really interesting. Using the affiliates, using user-generated content, using the influencers, all that sort of thing.
Oh, because, so you just called me basic for the previous ones.
I'm just saying you're the topmost expert at the content creator.
Nice safe.
The content market. And I'm sure e-commerce is not far behind.
No, but when it comes to e-commerce, I mean, really like SMS marketing, because right now, like we are FOMOing into Q4, right? And everything that we have been doing in terms of lead generation for the past few months or so, we just have to like harvest the shit out of it with email marketing. I want to bring in like SMS marketing to the mix. Of course, we are hyper testing creatives. That's always true. But I would just like to help people to find stuff that is converting the best, right? Because right now it's like balls to the wall moments. You're in it to win it. You have to put everything out there.
Yeah, well, we actually did a Shopify training last night, and they just did
Awesome.
their first live event in downtown LA, which is really interesting. But yeah, everybody's really interested in SMS. But what one big thing was towing the line. We had a really long conversation about it, towing the line between being spammy or being useful. So,
So cart abandonment
in your
would be
opinion,
useful for sure.
now,
Cart
outside of cart
abandonment flow would be
abandonment,
nice and extremely profitable.
yeah, and then out of cart abandonment, do you have any, like, what's your opinion on what you should and shouldn't do with SMS marketing?
I don't have
How do you avoid being too annoying and spammy, but how do you still generate sales?
Right. So whenever I get an SMS that's something that I like, which is personalized to me, preferably in my local language, very importantly, and that could be totally automated, is valuable information for me. So whenever like a Gucci bag is discounted for 40%, of course I will check it out. I mean, it's a irresistible offer for me. So make it relevant, make it localized, and don't overdo it. I mean, you have a limited number of punching power there, but I mean, when it comes to cart abandonment and just like personalized offers, there is no way in hell that you could miss that, because people appreciate this valuable information.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, localization. Because yeah, we didn't actually talk about that, but that is true, like especially in Europe. Obviously the US is a little less
yeah, we
less
ain't
diverse.
dum-dums, but it does look more personal if you send this in local language.
Hey guys, we put a bunch of effort into making great content for this YouTube channel, so please hit subscribe, leave us a comment, hit like, and tell a few friends about it.